Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, King Deal, Lauren Frey, Grim Clover, Internet Blood Sports, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. And here we are with ReviewTechUSA and his new hot take video. The Nintendo Switch eShop is garbage. Again, ReviewTechUSA seems to be have some kind of vendetta, some kind of agenda against Nintendo, and like over the past couple of months, it seems like this is what he's been fixating on is like the eShop and Nintendo's digital products and older games that might not be readily available, like stuff like that. He's been talking about a lot, and I've noticed that he's been greatly exaggerating the issue. He's been making it out to be something it isn't, and I thought upon seeing this hot take that I should go ahead and make a response to it. So let's see what Rich has to say.
Everybody, breaking news. My editor and I both just took dumps, and the Nintendo eShop is absolute garbage. Let's get into it. Skip it up and down.
What?
Hey, Jay, I took a dump. How about you?
I took a dump too. Let's talk about gaming.
Yes, let's not talk about turds. That's wrong. This is a family-friendly show with birds. So, Jay brought me a story, and then he came to me with an idea. Said, hey, that not safe for work Nintendo Switch game kind of proves that the Nintendo eShop sucks, so we should do a video on it. And I was like, yes, we should. But what game are we talking about? What not safe for work game, which you would never see Nintendo allow up on their eShop, I think even during the Wii days, which is there now. What game is this? This comes from comicbook.com. I'll read it to you real quick. Then we'll discuss, and then we'll discuss why we think the eShop is terrible. Is terrible, not charitable.
What the f is charitable?
I don't know. It sounds like a cheap candy you would find at a bodega. But anyway, here we go. Okay, here we go. On August 4th, price 20. It's all good.
Sorry, that made me laugh too hard. Okay, that's all staying in. If you guys are watching, I'm the editor. Okay, you go ahead.
All right, so on August 4th, priced at $28, which I find amazing too. A game called Massage Freaks will release from developer Curate. I think they're trying to be edgy with how they say curate there. We did another take of this the other day, and I think I remember looking that up. According to an official description from the developer, it's a rhythm game where you massage cuties. I would love to see the clientele that enthusiastically buys this game. If that quick descriptor sounds like it's for a lewd game, it's because it is. God, there's so much I wish I could say here right now, but I can't because the YouTube ninjas would come after me. But let me continue.
What is this? Why are these guys so ridiculous with their presentation and how they react to things? Like Rich does this all the time with like his chickens and stuff, but this guy, who's apparently his editor, like the whole weird as shit.
This is what they quote for the description. A rhythm game where you massage cuties. Play the rhythm game to work out the kinks in these beautiful bodies. Oh, Jesus Christ. Reads an official description of the game. Oh, man. Tell me you're a virgin without telling me you're a virgin. This new take on rhythm games has you massage beautiful women in time to the music. The patrons of your massage parlor will have not only sore bodies, but unique worries weighing on their hearts as well. Oh, God, they're doing the thing where, oh, keep me company. You mean so much to me. And it's a video game. All right, I'm sorry. Let's continue because I'll be here for 6 hours. Use your secret massage technique to clear out all the stress of their minds and their bodies while you're fapping with your other hand. I had to say it. I had to find a way to say it because come on. Like, could you imagine going into like a restaurant or something and some like grown ass man sitting there and he's playing the Massage Freaks?
No, brother.
I've seen.
Oh, brother.
I mean, I've seen people playing Switches at like places where they're just playing normal games, but dude, I had real quick. I know, and I won't. This is the only story I'll bring up. I remember I used to work at IBM, and there was an old man there, and he was watching adult things like in public on a computer. Like people were walking by and watching him watch those things, and I was like, dude, don't you think you should like not do that? He's like, nah, I'm good. Who cares a shit?
It's like Louis C.K.'s brother.
Dude, like right out in the open. Right. Anyway, so people are weird. They'll do this kind of stuff. I guarantee you're going to see someone playing Massage Cuties or Massage Freaks, somewhere. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that the eShop sucks. And I'm going to let Jay take over from here. I'm going to put in my 2 cents because he did put a lot of time in putting these notes together.
All right, so put a cherubble candy in my mouth and kiss me. Okay, here we go.
Yes, it sounds like a cheap-ass hood candy.
I can't get over it. I'm going to have to Photoshop a candy that says cherubble on it and put it in the video. I just created a half an hour of work for myself. Let's get into the list I created for this video. As you guys know, if you don't know me, I had a channel on YouTube. I still do. I don't really do it. I edit for review all the time, even in my sleep. This is a list of why we both did this together, of why we think the eShop is terrible. Let's see if you guys agree.
Okay, let's get it.
I had a show because
okay. How long did that take? 4.5 minutes of them talking about absolute garbage and not talking about the actual topic. 20-minute long video of them just not addressing the actual discussion. Like, what is with this pacing? Holy fucking shit. All right.
Reviewer, and I have a background in gaming for like 13 years. So,
At least.
I'm not just talking out my ass here. So, first and foremost, we'll start with the UI of the eShop. Let me ask you this, Rich. What's the worst UI out of all of the shops that are currently in circulation on the systems right now? Is it the Steam Deck?
No, the Steam Deck is buggy, but it's actually fairly It's actually fairly responsive.
I own like an Xbox One. I've had a lot more problems navigating the store in that thing than I ever did with the Switch eShop. PlayStation Store, never liked that either. I don't. What makes the Switch eShop the worst UI? You know, like you have a tab of best-selling games, upcoming games. You have a search bar. You have like recent releases. What else do you need? Like it's perfectly functional.
At least it's gotten a hell of a lot better.
How about the PSN? How's that going?
Fine.
Pretty easy, right?
PS3,
Pretty good, right?
PS3 used to suck, but now it's fine.
Yeah. Now let's go to the Xbox. How's that? Pretty good. It's the same as PSN, right? Pretty good.
Fine. I have no issue with the UI from any of the current gens, well, minus the Switch.
Now let's get into the Switch.
It's a dog.
It's unbelievable. So let me tell you why it is actually a dog. I know the technical aspect of why it is a dog. Now, all of the current gen, well, I'll say current gen Switch stuff, but also the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S, they all do this, by the way, Rich. I'm updating this from yesterday because we recorded this yesterday and then we both took a shit and we said, let's do it tomorrow.
I had a violent one a couple days
and
ago.
I actually unfortunately listened to him in the microphone for about 5 minutes and then he's like, yeah, this ain't happening.
No, yeah.
So
stay on topic, you spurs.
The UI is all based on a little secret here, and most people might know this, some might not know this, but the server itself...
It's a website.
It's a website. That's the big secret here. Now, the PlayStation PSN, that's a website too, so is the Xbox. They're websites, but let's look at the background of all the companies. Can PlayStation afford a good server to deliver up their PSN? Yes. Can Xbox? Obviously. Nintendo, on the other hand, doesn't understand how to dump the cache. And if you're into web development, it's quite simple. When a page loads on your computer and you go deeper into the page, more, things are popping up, you're scrolling, it'll...
Coming from someone whose voice doesn't match up to their lips. Oh man, Nintendo, they can't figure out how to have a data cache.
Dump the rest of the website that you haven't been looking at. And that's on purpose, so it doesn't overload and the memory doesn't, get jammed up and bottleneck.
Now, so it doesn't pull a Google Chrome, but continue.
Yeah, basically, these are issues from 1994 that they've figured out. The eShop has cache issues. So when you go into the UI and you go to the, let's say, I'll get to it a little bit more detailed later, but you get into the deal section and it shows 1,500 titles. By the time you get down to, say, title 300 on the list, it hasn't cleared the cache out. So it's literally above what you've already looked at, and it's still loading those things in, and it keeps them displayed, even though you're not looking at them. Now, some people, well, isn't the Switch powerful enough? Well, you got to keep in mind it's the server. It's not the Switch. The server is what's dealing all this stuff out, and because a lot of people are looking at it at once, it's
sounds like a complete non-issue to me. what the fuck is this? Like, really? Like, oh man, like they don't clear off the games when you scroll past them. Like, who cares?
Starts to bottleneck, and you can't even get through the whole list. So number one,
Yeah,
the
when
UI is
when you start
Wrong,
digging
wrong, wrong. I've done it before. These guys are full of shit.
through more games, it gets slower and slower, and to the point where it's just like, nah, I'm good. Like, if there was a game down there, I'm not gonna find it.
no. Well, that's what I was going to get into. I mean, number two on the list here, smaller selections for featured titles. Now, this goes into the fact that Nintendo is only going to promote their first-party titles at the top of all of the lists. New game.
Wrong, wrong, wrong. I saw Neon White was being promoted just today. I've seen plenty of indie games being promoted. I've seen plenty of third-party titles being promoted. Like, if Nintendo's featuring their first-party games, it's because they're coming out soon. You know, like it has nothing to do with the. It has nothing to do with being first party. Like that just you just get on the featured page if you're a high profile release. The thing is that the Switch doesn't get there just aren't a whole lot of high profile releases in general, like that aren't Nintendo exclusive.
Games, new deals, all of that stuff. Nintendo's always putting their first party titles above indie developers on the eShop. So the issue with that is when you want to go into the eShop, and this goes into number three with the quality
Yeah, how
control
dare Nintendo
of the
promote the
eShop,
best
which,
game?
you know, Rich, can you just tell them the story of when you were younger and you would buy a game? What was the seal of approval? Can you explain that to them in case they have no idea?
The seal of approval, Nintendo did that after there was the video game crash in the early 80s. And what Nintendo was trying to do, which worked, is the seal of quality is funny because there's still a bunch of crappy games that have the seal of quality, but at least you knew mostly that the games were at least functional and did what they were supposed. They may not be good, but at least they're not like Atari 2600 Custer's Revenge kind of bad. If anyone knows that one, you know. So it worked because people were like, "Oh, cool, you know, at least I know that these games are competent." And really it was Nintendo that brought the console market back to the States. The crash was really a States thing. It wasn't a worldwide thing. Now it's like I guess Nintendo is like, there's the internet. People could check out any title they want to. We don't have to curate anything. And you could literally put whatever the hell you want up if on Nintendo's eShop. And just hope people will buy it.
I can't believe this is a thing that we're 2022. If I was in 1994, imagined I'd go to the corner store.
That's how every online store works. Like you pay the fee to put your game on there, and it can be anything, right? Like as long as it does what it's supposed to do. Like again, like not every game is good, right? So if you're paying a fee to get your game on there, like your game isn't good, you're not gonna make your money back. Like there's no reason to expect a customer to kind of to buy something like AAA Clock or whatever. Like they're going to go for the games that the high profile releases or the releases that look interesting to them, while ignoring stuff like that. Like I don't think there's really a problem here. I really don't.
Store to rent a Super Nintendo game, and it was called whatever Massage Freaks for the Super Nintendo. Can you imagine that? You just show up at home with your little cart. You have no idea what it is. You put it in. It's just this like pixelated girl where you like massage her on screen. My mom would explode. She'd be like, "What the hell? I thought Nintendo actually took care of this stuff because of the seal. The seal was a huge deal when you and I were young."
Yeah, now Nintendo I think is like, all right, the internet.
M-rated games are I believe require you to be over 18 to purchase, even on digital stores. So your argument doesn't work because assuming the your age is accurate, like you're not going to have problem. You're not going to be able to buy stuff like Massage Freaks if you're underage without parental
Exists. People could check stuff out. It ain't our problem. And what's funny is that they're censoring less than like Sony. I don't know about Microsoft, but definitely Sony's censoring more than Nintendo is, without question. Who would have thought that? And that was the reverse back. That's what made PlayStation so intriguing back in the day, because they were edgier and more adult, and Nintendo was trying to play it safe. Now it's like Sony is like, what? You're having games like Massage Freaks on your? Yeah, we're not having that.
Like, what's that other game where you shoot the panties that are flying around? There's a game where you, I don't remember what it's ridiculous. It's just on the Switch, and they don't care anymore. So moving into the next number in the list here.
Yeah, Shovelware Night.
Is he talking about Galgun? that released on other platforms first, you spur.
Mayor. No quality control, which you go to like the newest games released, 95% of those are hot garbage.
It's unreal.
Like you would think that Nintendo would be like, all right, let's at least make sure. Okay, you don't care because the internet exists now, and you don't really think the Nintendo seal of quality means as much because people could just look up whatever the hell they want to. I kind of get it. But don't have the bottom of the barrel crap that's just like, oh, it was released, so, there was.
It's a recent releases page. That tab is for games that were recently released. So, again, everything that gets on the eShop needs to be on that tab. If you're concerned about quality, go to the featured tab or go to the bestsellers tab, right? Like, new releases, that's just the newest games that have come out.
It's literally a game where, how could I say this and keep it non-yellow $ friendly, where I forgot the name of it. It just came to my mind now, where you're in the back of a car fapping and you have to hide the fact that you're fapping.
What? And that's on Switch.
That's on Switch, or it was on Switch. Oh. I think it may have been taken down. This is just, but it doesn't matter. It existed, whether it was taken down or not. My point being is that's the kind of crap that's just randomly there. And that was not Nintendo. And on top of it, what sucks about this, because if you think about it, we were just it all ties together. The eShop, as you try digging through older titles, it gets, or you try digging through more titles, it slows up, it slows up, and slows up. So there's games in there, there's treasure, there's great games that are have all this crap piled on top of them. You may never literally get to see because the server will crash before you get there. I always think of the game, and I talked about this when we did it yesterday, it was Redeemer. Excellent top-down beat-em-up. Like, if you love beat-em-ups, if you love, like, the Streets of Rage and the Ninja Turtles remakes, run out and buy that game now. I didn't find that actually on the eShop. I found that through a YouTube video saying, hey, it's now available on the Switch. If I didn't find that, I would have never known that game exists.
Now, listen, let's get to the next two quickly here, because number four on the list is super easy. There's no gifting feature, which I find ridiculous in this day and age. I mean, we're 2022. I don't really even need to argue that point. But number 5 is the biggest one for me, and that's the deal page, which is a joke for indie developers who have new games that come out that get absolutely buried by shovelware and first-party Nintendo games.
Yes.
They're so. Listen to this. I love the genre of beat 'em ups, like you were just saying, and I love.
So do I.
roguelikes.
Redeemer. Go buy Redeemer. Run and go buy that game. I want to see them make a sequel, but continue.
Well, I didn't bring this up yesterday, but here's something I wanted to tell you, Rich, that I've sort of figured out. And it's, you know how you and I always talk about companies are about profit. That's about it. They don't care what we want. They'll just say, here's what you're getting, deal with it or don't buy it. Do you remember Fight Club? In the movie Fight Club, Edward Norton's character's on a plane. He explains to that woman next to him on the airplane that he works at an insurance company, that he goes to crash sites and determines how many crashes are going to happen because of the defect in the car. And if the defect in the car costs more to fix rather than just pay off the people, they'll do the cheapest way out.
Yeah, the class action lawsuits. Ford did that with the Pinto back in the day. They were like,
exactly.
It'll be more profitable for us to just pay off. If people die, if they die, we'll just, pay it, do whatever payouts. Yeah, of course.
So listen to this. Listen to my theory. Nintendo, I guarantee they did this. They had a meeting. They definitely had a meeting. And somebody said, why don't we curate the eShop? Why don't we take care of this? We've got all of these great games that are sitting there that we know will sell well because of the genre they're in. They're top-notch, 10 out of 10 games. Then we have all this shovelware. I guarantee Nintendo's like, we're not spending any money. And they're like, well, why? Well, we'll just drop everything and let them figure it out themselves. Well, how are they going to figure that out? YouTube. Oh, we're not going to pay them? No, we don't need to pay them. And that is the company in a nutshell. They know that they can release all.
Are you serious? Like, are these guys really like denying the fact that most people are going to get like learn about exciting new indie games through YouTube and other platforms, other forms of media, rather than just looking at the eShop? Like, I can tell you from experience that a lot of the games I've been buying lately are stuff that was introduced to me by other people. Neon White, Tormented Souls. Those were games recommended to me by other people, right? I don't. This is the big thing. This is the thing that I bring up when it comes to like talking about the Wii and talking about Nintendo consoles in general. Having a lot of shovelware does not make a console worse. Having a lot of shovelware is just what happens when your console is super successful. It has nothing to do with like the eShop format. It has nothing to do with like the company that designed the console. It just means that your console is successful and someone will pay for that stuff. There's there's nothing weird about it. There is no conspiracy. There is no agenda. Like, you're just delusionally trying to put the blame on Nintendo for this. Oops.
All these games, they don't care which ones rise to the top because they know people like you and I will talk about the games like Redeemer. That has to go to the top because we're bringing it up, and I'm sure some people will buy that right now based on your recommendation.
If you like beat 'em ups, you should, but continue. I get what you. Yeah, they're basically saying. I don't mean to cut you off, but that might.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're basically saying, why are we going to spend money to curate? Why are we going to spend money to redo the eShop? And it probably would cost tens of millions of dollars. I mean, that's a number I'm pulling out of my ass, but it would be expensive to get it to where it's more organized. They're like, no, people, if they want to look up a game, they'll go on YouTube, they'll look it up. Who cares? Who cares? But the thing that bothers me about it is that, again, games like Redeemer, no one will ever find out because the store is not set up to put a highlight on great games that aren't first-party games from Nintendo, that aren't just super popular games like Fortnite. And they just get lost, and you don't even know they're there. There's another game called Paint the Town Red. It's like a really violent, it's like a first-person beat-em-up if it was in Minecraft. It's another one that's really fun that I recommend. It's called Paint the Town Red. I had no idea that was on the Switch. I knew it was on Steam. It's actually a pretty decent port too. It just weird. I didn't know it was there. If I don't know it's there, how can I buy it? How can I support a developer if I don't know their product is on Nintendo's shop? And that is, besides it being slow as dog crap, that is the other big problem. There's a bunch of great games that you and I, even though we're aware of this, have no idea are there, no idea that they're there because the way the shop is set up.
So yeah, I mean that's the end of our list. We just wanted to bring this up because I feel like Nintendo's on top of the world right now, but they give us the bottom of the barrel stuff. Switch Online, bottom of the barrel, hardly works. You've got the eShop, barely works. You'll never find a title that you've never experienced before or heard based on the indie devs spending their own money on
bullshit.
To send out ads on Twitter or Facebook. You're never going to get anything like that off the eShop, and I feel like, obviously I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I've got a tattoo of the Triforce, and I've grown up with them. So is Rich, Genesis, all those things back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just like
Genesis.
Enough is enough now. Like, are we going to ever see Nintendo step up to the plate and actually do something that isn't bottom of the barrel other than their first-party titles? Like, Nintendo doesn't do anything else really well except make really good video games.
And like I said,
wow, a video game company doesn't do anything other than produce great video. What a great insight, you genius.
I'll end with this. I always say this in every video that I talk about Nintendo regarding similar topics, is that the reason the Switch is successful is because it has both the great first-party games and the great third-party games. You don't have the support of both, it hurts a platform. History has proven this. Make your, like, when the next Switch comes out, Nintendo, maybe they need something with the hardware to really overhaul. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, but maybe they need more powerful hardware to overhaul the eShop. When the next Switch comes out, make it that, I'm not saying, look, Nintendo, I get it, man. You make more money off of your own first-party IPs. You don't have to pay out licensing fees or whatever like that, and you keep more money in your pocket. but make a way that indie games and new indie games that people may miss that are great get a spotlight on them, because then in the long run, people.
You've got to be kidding. Does this guy not know that the news tab exists? Does he not know that you can curate that so you get recommendations from your favorite developers, from certain genres, from big notable upcoming indie games, like games that get shown off in directs, get like news games? Does this guy not know that exists? Holy fucking shit. He didn't bring up the news tab once. Do you know how many games I found through that surf? This video was a complete waste of everyone's time. It was a couple of dudes trying to get some clicks, trying to shit on Nintendo, and they came up with this crap. You know, none of their points really made a whole lot of sense. None of them meant anything. They didn't leave any kind of impact. And honestly, even their one argument that like, oh man, it's easy to overlook more obscure games on the eShop. Well, that's when you go looking for them, right? That's when you take the initiative yourself to like find stuff in certain genres or certain styles that you want from certain developers. Like just find the best indie games, right? That takes work, you know, no matter what you're doing, right? And what a parasite! What a shill!
People will be like, wow, Nintendo not only offers great first-party games, it's easy to find the third-party developers' games on there too, so I'm definitely going to invest more in their platform. And they're just like, we don't need to do that, which I think is stupid. They're shooting themselves in the foot, whether they realize it or not. I don't care who's having meetings there saying, they could just look up YouTube videos.
You know what I find crazy, and this is my last point? There's a meeting at Nintendo that happens where they look at the eShop and somebody in that meeting goes, "This is enough." Can you believe that? In this day and age, this is enough. It just barely works. That's enough. They know it doesn't work.
Barely
It's
works.
It's like, I just don't get it.
I feel like Nintendo, to finally take online seriously and take like digital distribution seriously, they're going to need to get slapped around again sales-wise with another platform. You know, and then they'll be like, finally. I don't want to see it happen because I love the Switch and I want the next gen Switch to be awesome. But I feel like that needs to happen because right now they're like, why do we need to change anything? We're on top of the world. We're top dog right now. Let it be
I know,
broke.
it's like it's the same thing as what Sony's doing right now. Sony's lost their minds in some regards. They're just like, we're the best again. Deal with it. And they don't realize that slowly everything's turning on them. But that's a whole other video.
Yeah, buy our most expensive God of War Ragnarok collectible edition, and we won't include the disc. That's brilliant, Sony. All right, guys. Thank you, Jay, for coming through. I think this was an excellent idea. And Nintendo, please, for the love of
What a stupid video. What a waste of everyone's time. These guys will complain about Nintendo until they drop dead. Like that's their entire identity. That's their entire lifestyle. That's their career. That's what they do. Is just complain about Nintendo no matter what. And this was a particularly pathetic example of that.